And good morning. Welcome to Eight Things to Talk About for Monday, January the 3rd, 2022. Can't say all those twos all together. I'm Jacob Pangan, bringing you what is the first of the Eight Things to Talk About broadcast for this year. Hopefully, first of many, and hopefully, first of many that are actually consecutive. What this is all about is the eight things to talk about that were compiled using the words, using the efforts, using the clicks by you out there on the social media. You guys did the work, and we are reaping the benefits, literally harvesting your work on our social media feeds, telling us what stories are the most conversational throughout the weekend here. Mondays, we talk about Friday through early Monday morning, the most conversational stories that were out there per you, not necessarily per the most important. So we are not your main source of news. We like to think of ourselves as your side piece of news, the one you go to in those really, 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 really good times, even though we don't take care of all your needs. We give you more or less the candy part of the news. So 8 things to talk about for today, which is actually for the full weekend. So we go back and forth, back about 3 or 4 days, Friday early to early this morning. Let's go ahead and get into the lineup for today and go to the story that's at the very top, going all the way back to New Year's Eve, because this is when it happened. We posted it late, early-ish Saturday, something like that. New Year's Eve being Friday. Miley Cyrus has wardrobe malfunction during live New Year's Eve performance. Jokes, this is still the most clothes I've worn on stage. Bro Bible is our source. Engagement of this one, 16.28%. It means 16-ish percent people of all the stats, all the people that responded this weekend, clicked on that article, looked at that article, saw that article, engaged with that article. And that article and that story is a big one. It's almost all over the place. Miley Cyrus essentially was a champ when she went on stage during her New Year's Eve performance, if you will. She hosted a last minute show with Pete Davidson in Miami because Fox moved their location from Miami, or from New York to Miami, because of COVID and whatever, to have something a bit more intimate. And we'll talk more about that in a little bit, about how that worked out. But how did it work out? Miley Cyrus lost her top, and she worked it off like a champ, because she is a solid performer and she loses her clothes a lot on stage. So yeah. Story number 2 for the weekend. Antonio Brown leaves the field in the middle of Buccaneers game versus Jets, strips down and gives peace sign to crowd. Say that 3 times fast. The source of that was CBS Sports, but that one, of course, was all over the place. Engagement of that one, 14.26%. So not too far off from Miley Cyrus. These are really big stories for the week. And this is a big story that's becoming even bigger, because the background that we're finding, this happened, I believe, in like one of the early games on Sunday, and then it happened. So we had all day to deal with it and all night to process it, and now in the morning to talk about it as well. It turned to a tale of 2 issues, actually 3 issues. Issue number one is Antonio Brown not being a great guy, not being a great teammate, having lots and lots of talent, and just not being able to get along with people. Number 2, Antonio Brown not being happy about missing his money. Apparently, he was up for an incentive bonus by hitting some numbers, and the Bucs weren't quite playing it so well with 2 games left in the season. And so he threw up deuces and left the field in a crazy way. Ironically, over the late part of last week, early part of the weekend, a college player did the exact same thing, essentially quit on the team at halftime and said that the donors were bums or something like that. But the third part of this thing is something that didn't really occur to me, although it should have been the first thing to me, until I had a conversation with a friend online about mental illness and Antonio Brown having issues with depression and mental illness, things like that. The fact that it ain't no joke, it's not funny. So while the performance that he gave was a bit of a performance, we need to think hard and long about people like him, people with mental illnesses that are serious, and people like him, people that are really rich and have a platform, and throw it all away like that. What's going on in their heads? There's something deeper going on in this, and I'm not friends with Antonio Brown. I'm not a psychiatrist, so I don't know what is going on. But this is something that's going to be carried on longer and longer than we want it to, because the mental illness part will creep in, as opposed to the silly millionaire thing. The number three story Say those 3 times fast. Impractical Joker star Joe Gatto announces he's leaving the troupe after a long run. Deadline.com, our source, engaged on this one, 4.04%. As you can see, after this one, it drops quite a bit, but people still engage in this one. This one moved it up quite a bit of Storm to make it work out for the weekend. If you are a fan of Impractical Jokers, it is a show that comes on TBS or TNT or one of the things. The only real exposure I get to, because I don't actually watch the show, is during March Madness when they have all the promos on all the TNT-owned stations. But very popular show, very popular comedy troupe, and we're seeing that one of the members of the 4 Impractical Jokers basically doing pranks and phone call stuff, leaving the gig, and we'll see what happens going forward if the show continues, if the troupe continues going forward. The number 4 story for the weekend coming through: reports of multiple people trapped in the Sandia Peak tram cars overnight in Albuquerque, New Mexico. ABCnews.com, abcnews.go.com is their source. 3.78% is the engagement. And the really cool thing about this, or not so cool thing about this, happened on New Year's Eve. Happy New Year, folks. Stuck in a tram in the cold all night long. Number 5 this week: Billy Joe Armstrong cancels New Year's Eve gig due to COVID-19 fears. New York Post gave us that one, or 2.66% of that one, coming in on New Year's Eve-ish before the actual performance. And oddly enough, where was he going to perform? In Miami with Miley Cyrus and Pete Davidson. So that was one of the no-shows for their show. Happened to be the fact that he already pulled out. Billy Joe Armstrong, actually was one who came into contact with someone COVID-19. So because of that, protocols and all, he pulled out of the gig for the new year. The number 6 story: politician ripped into Netflix Emily in Paris over caricature portrayed of thieving Iranian women. The Daily Beast is a source of that one, 2.34% of that one. Now, this is one that may need a little deeper introspective for you if you need to. So you might want to go check out the website. This is theconversationproject.com, and check the list for the top 8 for today, and all the weekend, I should say, and see what's going on that one. This is one where a politician essentially goes off on the show Emily in Paris for portraying a Ukrainian woman, thieving Ukrainian woman, in pretty much every character you can think of a Eastern European woman who happens to be a thief. It's not a good portrayal, obviously. It's not even clever or entertaining, apparently. But if you're a fan of Emily in Paris and glad they're back, somebody's not so glad that they're back with this caricature. Story number 7 for the weekend: Pokemon card collectors believe Logan Paul's $3.5 million first edition case is a fake. Provide strong evidence. TotalProSports.com is your source of this. 2.29% engaged on this one. And oddly enough, I almost put Jake Paul in this one, reading too fast. This is Logan Paul's bag, not Jake's. Logan Paul, over the weekend, or late last week, I guess, said he has a first edition Pokemon case worth $3.5 million, per says the article there. Card collectors think it's a fake. Not the first time that Jake or Logan Paul try to pull something. This one's Logan's bag. I should stop saying Jake. I don't know why Jake's got Jake's name in my mouth this morning for some reason. Excuse me. And the final story of the 8 things to talk about, if you need things to talk about on your day going into work, back to the new year: George Lopez falls ill during New Year's Eve comedy set and walks off stage. TMZ is the source for this one. 2.23% engagement on this one. And just like it says, George Lopez was performing on New Year's Eve, performing on the night, performing fairly early in the night, though. It wasn't quite towards midnight, but he was performing live in concert, live on stage, and got ill. We don't have any feedback, any updates on this story, so I don't know what the actual update is. I know that he's well, of course, he's done fine, and he will be back on stage fairly soon, we believe. That is what we're believing from that one. But like I said, we don't know the exact extent to his illness, just the fact that he just couldn't keep performing. Of course, over the weekend, literally on New Year's Day, New Year's Eve, before the New Year rolled up, we lost Betty White. That story, of course, posted inside of the 8 Things to Talk About, and that's getting plenty of coverage in the Real News, we believe. But as far as just the reaction to it on social media, we just didn't get the hits on that one as we believe we would, and that's fine. But the quick notice on there, and a little extra special bonus notice: extra special bonus notice for the passing of Betty White at 99, nearly 18 days or so shy of her 20th of her 100th birthday. The big news on that is the fact that her heart will go on and her documentary will go on her birthday. So if you hadn't got your tickets yet to a local theater, trust me, my wife went and scooped hers up immediately after hearing the news because they went pretty fast here locally. Try to get yourself a ticket for that January 20th documentary. It's still live. It's still popping. It's still going to happen. It's just going to happen without Betty White in attendance. Thank you so much. I am Jay Cleveland Payne. Support the efforts of the Conversation Project at buymeacoffee.com/Jay Cleveland Payne, or reach out to me at Jay Cleveland Payne. They're at pretty much on all the social medias, and just email me also. It's jclevelandpayne@gmail.com. Reach out if you want to help out. We will take all the support we can. Thank you so much. As you said, the first of the year, first of hopefully consecutive and many. We will see.